And now I'm going to be doing the PDK transmission fluid replacement. I'm going to use Redline DCTF. It is specified for our car, 718. So this is what I'm going to be doing now. For that I have the same pot I use for the Macan. This I just put compressor here and it pumps out the fluid. But stay tuned, because the red line didn't work. And before I start with the replacement of the PDK fluid, if you do your own oil changes in the 718, get your engine cap kit from Santirix Engineering for the undercarriage cover today. This cap will only work in 718 base or S with 2.0 or 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engines, and the 2017 to 2019 718 GTS with the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, where you don't have to remove the cover to access the oil filter. With this cap, you will get instant access to the engine oil drain plug without having to remove that undercarriage cover, which is very difficult to remove. See the description below for the link to the Santirix Engineering store. Your support ensures we continue to create more solutions and content for the 718 and Macan platforms. Thank you. And now, let's go back to the 718 PDK oil change. I am now in the driver's side of the PDK, going in, and there you can see the plug I need to remove. That's a fill plug of the PDK. And then the drain plug is here. I'm going to undo the fill plug first. It's always good to undo fill first and then drain in that order. I also put a receptacle there for any oil spill. It's collected there. The instruction calls for tape to be placed in between the PDK and the pan. I'm gonna use this. I don't know why, but the PDK fill plug needs to be removed first, so that's what I'm doing now. It's spinning. Nothing happens there. Once the fill plug is removed, I am now removing the drain plug. I use a T30 torque speed. Once the fluid is drained, I proceed to reinstall the drain plug. And since the drain plug has no ring, I'm just tightening up by hand until it's really tight and snug. Now I'm setting up the oil pump so I can get the oil inside the PDK. Before starting the fill process, I have the manual here. And now what I'm doing is checking the ATF again. So now I connected the hotel autofix. I'm gonna go through the shifting process, then move selector to P, and then start the oil fill mode in the hotel again, and then top it off. So check the oil fill mode, top it off, it doesn't emerge, and then if it emerges, I know it's in it's at level. All right, so. It is now time to pump the DCT fluid into the PDK. I'm going to pump fluid until the fluid spills out of the fill plug. Now that the fluid is spilling, I reinstall the plug temporarily to continue with the filling process. So it's supposed to be 1 second per shift. So let's do that now. Continue. Doing a lot of stuff. Meanwhile, add transmission oil up to overflow. Monitor the transmission temperature between them. Right, so now I need to overfill. So now that we have filled all parts of the PDK using the oil fill process in the AutoFix Autel, I proceed to remove the fill plug and fill the PDK until it's filled. At that point, it will be at the correct level. To finalize the process, I'm now applying the required torque to the fill plug. So after I finished the process, I went for a test drive and I noticed that it was shuddering or hesitating in between gears, especially when I was downshifting from fourth to third or from fifth to fourth. It was hesitating or shuddering a little bit. So I came back and decided to do a calibration, and this is what I'm doing now. I'm doing a PDK calibration here. All right, so calibration was successfully completed. I did another test drive after calibrating the PDK and found that although the issue with the hesitation during downshifting was much improved, it was still there, especially during hard downshifting. At that point, I decided to go back home, park the car, and do a little bit of research, which I admit I should have done before I decided to add Redline into my PDK. I looked for the product data sheet for both the Redline DCT fluid, and I compared it with the Pentosine FFL3, which is the OE DCT fluid for the 718. There, as you can see, I found some concerning differences. The red line fluid has a higher viscosity than pentosine. Looking at the red line datasheet, you can see that the kinematic viscosity at 40 degrees C is 40.7 centistokes, while the pentosine is 34.7 centistokes. The same is true at 100 degrees C, with red line having a viscosity of 8.1 centistokes and pentosine at 7 centistokes. All other parameters are similar and non-consequential for my analysis. I wanted to focus on viscosity because I had the theory in mind. Even before I looked at the datasheets, I was suspecting that there was a viscosity difference between the two fluids. You see, the CF-PDK in our 718s have these small channels where the fluid have to go through to reach different components, like solenoids that actuate the shifting. My suspicion was that as I was downshifting hard, that gear is not the one that the dual clutch is expecting, and hence have to react quickly to the command. A fluid with higher viscosity is going to delay that actuation, hence the reaction of the component, which is exactly what I was feeling when downshifting hard. Calibration made it a bit better because it accounted for the higher viscosity of the fluid, but it was just not enough. Therefore, what I decided to do was to get enough pentosine fluid to do a complete flush of the red line fluid. Replace the oil pan. As you will see, a lot of oil remains in the oil pan even after draining, and then finally fill with pentosine FFL3. I did contact Redline because the Redline does specify that fluid, the DCT fluid for the 718, but I haven't received an answer. In the meantime, I recommend you don't use Redline in your PDK and stay with what OE Porsche recommends. So now I'm starting the fluid flush. I start by draining the red line, and then you will see me adding pentosine. I will go through the full oil fill process and then drain that again, remove the pan, replace the pan with a new one because it has an integrated filter, and then refilling back with new pentosine oil again. To remove the PDK oil pan, first you need to remove this metal structural frame. Now, with that plate removed, I can go ahead and remove all the bolts holding the PDK oil pan. This is the old PDK pan, and this is the new one. .4 Newton meters and this specific order. Now I'm adding the final bottles of Pentosine FFL3 to my oil pump. I am now refilling the PDK. Once again, going through all the gears. And again, starting the oil filling process. Now at this point, I'm removing the oil fill plug to fill the PDK one last time. Once it starts to spill, it is at level. Finally, torquing the oil fill plug to specifications. And at this point, I'm recalibrating the PDK. This process is going fast because you already saw it in the prior clips, so I'm going fast through this one. So this is the final test drive. All the issues I had with the red line are completely gone. Shifting is smooth all the way. Pentosine FFL3 is really the right oil for the PDK. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.